All right, let's talk about one of the biggest headaches for any DIY solar project. We're going to show you a super simple, really clever hack that lets you power your gear straight from the sun. No heavy, expensive batteries needed. Seriously, if you've ever felt like the cost and complexity of solar were just too much, stick around. This is for you.
So let me ask you this. What's the one thing in a small solar setup that costs the most, weighs a ton, and is usually the most complicated part of the whole deal? If you're thinking it's the battery, you are absolutely right.
And that really gets us to the heart of the matter, what I'd call solar's most expensive hurdle, the battery. It's the reason these projects can, break the bank and sometimes your back, too.
For so many people, the battery is just this giant roadblock. I mean, traditional setups are built around them. They don't just store power, the system actually needs them just to function properly. And that huge cost and complexity, that's often where a really great project idea just dies.
But what if you could just get rid of it? What if you could just bypass it completely? Well, that's the secret to this battery-free solution. It is, as our source material calls it, a dead simple way to power your devices.
And the hero of this whole story is this little gadget right here, a DC to DC converter. Its job is so important. It takes that wild, fluctuating voltage coming straight off a solar panel and just tames it. It smooths it out and gives you a stable, steady current that your electronics can actually use without, frying themselves.
Okay, so how in the world does this one little box replace a whole giant battery? Let's dive into the magic behind direct solar power. And trust me, it's way simpler than you might think.
Okay, now check this out, because this is where it all clicks. Over on the left, you've got your old school solar charge controller. Its whole reason for being is to charge a battery. It needs that battery to know what to do, and if you run it without one, you can actually break the controller. But now look at the right. Our little DC to DC converter is a completely different beast. It's a regulator. Its only job is to provide a rock-solid output voltage directly to your gear, no battery necessary.
And this quote right here is just the perfect analogy for how it works. See, the secret sauce is inside the converter. It's got these big capacitors. Think of it like this. A battery is like a massive water tower, storing a ton of water for later. But the capacitors, they're like that little pressure tank on your home's water system. They don't store a lot, but they're amazing at smoothing out any shudders or fluctuations, giving you that perfect, steady stream of power exactly when you need it.
So that's all the theory, which is great, but how does this thing actually hold up in the real world? Let's take a look at what happens when you start plugging things in.
And honestly, the results are pretty amazing. In actual tests, this simple setup had no problem charging a totally dead laptop. It also powered things with motors, like small DC fans, which can sometimes be tricky. But one of the coolest uses was for a self-modulating fan. Think about it. It just automatically runs when it gets sunny and hot and turns off when a cloud passes over. No switches, no fuss. Just pure, simple solar logic.
And I know what you're thinking. Okay, but what's the catch? How much power am I losing here? Well, while some of the super high-end solar controllers can get close to perfect, these simple converters are usually around 90% efficient. I mean, for the massive drop in cost and complexity, that is an incredible trade-off.
So, if you're getting excited about building one of these yourself, here's a really good pro tip from the source. You're going to want to get a 100 to 200 watt panel. Why? Because solar panels pretty much never give you their full rated power in the real world. This just gives you that extra bit of juice to make sure your gear runs reliably.
Okay, before you run out and start plugging everything in, we have to talk about safety and a couple of important reality checks. Following these rules is absolutely crucial for a system that's not just reliable, but more importantly, safe.
There are really just 3 golden rules you need to remember. First, this setup needs full sun. It's a use it or lose it kind of deal. No battery means no power for cloudy days or after sunset. Second, always check your output voltage with a meter before you plug in anything expensive. For 12-volt stuff, you want to keep it under 14.7 volts. And third, and please don't skip this, add a fuse. It's the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy for your electronics.
Now, the good news is, putting all this together is so easy. The guide recommends using standard XT60 connectors, which makes everything just plug and play. And here's a fantastic little trick to make sure you never mess up. Always use the female connector for your power source, that's the panel, and the male connector for your load, or your device. If you do that, it's physically impossible to hook it up backwards. Brilliant. So there it is, a way to completely sidestep the single biggest hurdle in small-scale solar. It's cheap, it's efficient, and it's surprisingly powerful for anything you need to run during the day. So that just leaves one last question. Now that you know the secret to battery-free solar, what would you power with it?